Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch, one of the most important organizations out here in Washington. Mr. Fitton, good morning. How are you?
Alex, good to be with you again. Good morning.
Good morning. It's great to talk to you. So let's talk about FBI Director Comey's testimony. Let's play a quick clip, Producer Paul, if you don't mind. I would like to play 1D.
Because here's how I thought about it. I'm not trying to talk you into this, but I want you to know my thinking. Having repeatedly told this Congress, we are done and there's nothing there, there's no case there, there's no case there, to restart in a hugely significant way, potentially finding the emails that would reflect on her intent from the beginning and not speak about it would require an act of concealment, in my view. And so I stared at speak and conceal. Speak would be really bad. There's an election in 11 days. Lordy, that would be really bad. Concealing, in my view, would be catastrophic. Not just to the FBI, but well beyond. And honestly, as between really bad and catastrophic, I said to my team, we've got to walk into the world of really bad. I've got to tell Congress that we're restarting this, not in some frivolous way, in a hugely significant way.
Now, I'm not a huge fan of James Comey, but he speaks very clearly, and it just seems perfectly reasonable to me, Tom Fitton, that there was no choice here. If he held this back from the American people, that Hillary Clinton had somehow, thanks to her negligence or incompetence, had forwarded classified emails to Anthony Weiner, someone who's under investigation for sexting children, it would have been the end of the FBI as we know it.
Well, that may be the case, but, you put your finger on it, the end of the FBI as we know it. And, Comey is very interested in protecting his own reputation and why he should have done X and why he should have done Y. But at the end of, in the final analysis, what happened was that Comey has repeatedly and improperly protected Hillary Clinton and her top people from the consequences of their criminal behavior by coloring the law, misstating the law, and focusing on everything but everything but the elephant in the living room. Is why didn't he prosecute her? Why didn't he recommend a prosecution? Why was immunity granted to all of these individuals? Why is it that he said that he needed to prove intent when, in fact, all they really needed was gross negligence, which was, proven beyond a shadow of a reasonable doubt, and he probably had the intent there anyway. Looking at the testimony generally yesterday, Alex, I just was reassured that Judicial Watch and all the critics of the way the Justice Department and the FBI handled this during the Obama administration are right, that the investigation of Hillary Clinton needs to be opened. He keeps on telling us other reasons why it needs to be opened by disclosing additional crimes that his FBI has been covering up for 8 months now, which is that, for instance, Huma Abedin mishandled classified information and sending it along to someone unauthorized to see, review it, or have it. Anthony Weiner, her husband.
Yeah, you touched on so many key points, and I teed up the previous segment. I was playing some more clips, Tom, and giving the listeners my thoughts on them. And one of the things that I said was I still can't get over that first testimony where Comey walked through a million different reasons to indict Hillary Clinton and then chose not to indict her. I remember Bannon called me during the hearing, and he said he's going to indict her. I can't believe it. And then I said, this is what it looks like it. And then he didn't. And I remember it was just such a surreal reversal to walk through a clear case on why she should be indicted and then to have not indicted her. But the media has set the narrative, Tom, which is that he should actually be apologizing for saying anything negative about Her Highness Hillary Clinton, and not the way you and I are seeing it, which is that still we don't know why she isn't indicted given all that we've learned.
That's right. And I can understand why that letter was concerning to those of the people who were in the middle of the campaign. Mrs. Clinton's conduct was requiring an FBI investigation. But the scandal is the FBI investigation was half-baked. Alex, one of the few things that we've uncovered as a result of Judicial Watch's litigation trying to get records about what the FBI was up to was that the FBI was using Judicial Watch documents that we've gotten through the Freedom of Information Act to question some of the witnesses in the Clinton investigation. So why haven't they gotten them on their own through grand juries or subpoenas or other law enforcement action. You know, they seem to be following our lead here, and I don't think Comey's heart was in it. He was always concerned, and he reaffirmed that yesterday, that he was about getting involved in politics. You know, if he was nervous about a letter getting involved in politics, can you imagine what he would have been nervous about if an indictment was in the offing and something he wanted to pursue in the face of what he confirmed to be Justice Department interference and a lack of good faith? You know, he's just highlighting the fact that A, he shouldn't be FBI director, and B, the Justice Department was so thoroughly corrupt that he couldn't even trust them to tell you what the time of day was. And C, that the investigation of Hillary Clinton needs to be reopened by someone independent and serious, and Comey should have nothing to do with it. And there is precedent for this. You know, I recall in the beginning of the Obama administration, Alex, you may remember this. Remember the investigation into the poor CIA saps who were charged with using enhanced interrogation techniques?
Of course, sure.
You know, they had been exonerated by the Bush administration. The Obama administration came in and reinitiated a special prosecution, an investigation of them. This is what should be done with Hillary Clinton.
Got Tom Fitton on the line, president of Judicial Watch. Check out judicialwatch.org. Also, you can pick up his New York Times bestseller, Clean House. Highly recommended. So one thing that I did want to point out, and I'm not the first to do this, but Comey is... he's playing this game where he's saying Hillary did not have criminal intent. First of all, I read Clinton Cash. I'm not positive, but why does intent only matter for the rich and powerful, and it doesn't matter for any common criminals? How come this sort of white collar crime somehow intent matters all of a sudden? Tom Fitton.
I don't know why Mr. Comey is falsely stating what the law is under oath again before Congress. There is no intent needed to prosecute someone for the mishandling of classified information. Because just imagine, you know, if someone is so careless about classified information that they leave it on the Internet equivalent of a park bench, of course they're going to get prosecuted. And they should. And that's what Hillary Clinton did. But not only that, but they did have even, let's say they said, well, let's be sure, because it's going to be tough to prosecute her, that we have more than just the gross negligence standard that the law requires. Let's say that we need the intent standard. Well, Mrs. Clinton was warned repeatedly, again, uncovered by Judicial Watch documents the FBI had, not to use a system separate from the State Department system because of the security concerns. She acknowledged those warnings and did it anyway. So no matter how you slice it, they had the case.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. You guys at Judicial Watch also did something very important this week, that you guys were able to reveal that Huma Abedin emails show that the Clinton Foundation and State Department were linked together on Haiti. This is something that Peter Schweitzer documents in Clinton Cash. You provided more evidence for this. Can you talk to us about this?
Yeah, there were some emails showing that after the the terrible Haitian earthquake in 2010, there was almost an immediate conference call involving the Clinton Foundation. Now, Mrs. Clinton promised that sort of thing wouldn't happen, that the Clinton Foundation and the State Department, there'd be a bright line demarcating, and the two wouldn't meet. But instead, they did meet, and obviously we later found out that Bill Clinton and his foundation effectively ran U.S. government operations down there, despite Mrs. Clinton's promises that they'd have nothing to do with government when she was in the Secretary of State position, because that's what she had to do in order to get the position of Secretary of State, promising a bright line between the Clinton Foundation and her Secretary of State office, because both Republicans and Democrats, and even the White House, Barack Obama's White House, had concerns about it. And by the way, the documents we have this week also show more classified information being shared with Huma Abedin and others that Hillary Clinton was sending and receiving on our systems.
It's still coming out,
Unbelievable.
Tom.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's still coming out, and yet the press has moved on, and partially, and this was the first time that Breitbart took issue with President Trump, was when he said he wasn't going to prosecute Hillary Clinton, because we don't even, how can he say that when there's still so much we don't even know? Despite all the investigations, there's still so much that has been covered up. We don't have all the information yet, Tom.
Yeah, the charitable interpretation of that, it was a reactive comment, and he doesn't really believe it. I really don't think he thinks that's the case. And technically speaking, he can't prosecute Hillary Clinton. The operational question is the Justice Department going to be staffed now by people in the Trump administration who understand what their roles and duties are to the and their obligations are to the American people and do their jobs? I mean, all I'm asking is that for the political scales, the thumb of politicians to be taken off the scales of justice and allow a prosecution, as a regular one, to proceed against Hillary Clinton. And it doesn't necessarily, certainly an investigation or a grand jury, a serious one, it doesn't necessarily mean that she'll be prosecuted, but the American people will be reassured that the rigged game that went on last year isn't going to happen again. There's going to be finally a full vetting of what went on.
Yeah, we can only hope, and certainly the people doing the best vetting, as far as I can tell, is Judicial Watch itself. That's Tom Fitton. He's the president. Go to judicialwatch.org. Thanks a lot, Tom. We'll catch up with you soon.